Hello, how's it going? This is NDNerd17, and today I just kind of wanted to go on a little bit of a ramble with you guys, connecting mental health with financial security and general finances. So, couple things to start off. The premise that I'd like to work with is that financial stability and security is directly linked to mental health and various other aspects of mental health, like having mental health disorders, illnesses, etc. How those are connected, I would like to take some time to explore because they are very interconnected in a lot of ways, many ways. So intricately so that the meme of like, oh, you know, all your problems would be fixed with money. That's not true. Money can't buy happiness. No, literally, all problems would be solved with money, or more specifically, financial stability and security. So, we're gonna dive into that a bit today and try to link as many aspects of potential financial insecurity with mental health. Okay, so first thing, right off the bat, I know a phrase exists, I heard it a decent amount growing up, that money can't buy happiness. And while there is some truth to that to an extent, studies have shown that up until a certain point, a certain either net worth or yearly income, money income increasing, increases general happiness and contentment up until a certain point. And at that point, it doesn't go back down, it plateaus. So up until a certain point, statistically, you're going to be happier having more money. And then it doesn't go back down. You just don't get any happier. So, like, money absolutely does buy happiness. First and foremost, let's get that out of the way. Now, how are they connected? Because when you hear the phrase money can't buy happiness, that seems to imply that you're literally like going to the store and purchasing happiness, thinking that it's some kind of transaction, like, oh, you're going to use this money to, I don't know, buy acid, LSD, etc., and that will like make you happy, which it doesn't. And I'm not saying you should do drugs. I'm not at all advocating for that, to be clear. What I'm more so saying is that having access to the things that are nice things to have when you have excess money is awesome. And I say excess because a lot of things that you are able to have access to up until that excess is also awesome. Like, for instance, cars. I live in the United States. Thanks to it being a large country and the many factors that went into it, lobbying, etc., capitalism, that's kind of how it goes. It is a car-based infrastructure. So, unless you live in a major city that has good public transportation, chances are you need a car. In my area, you need a car. It is not an if and or but. You need a car. Unless you are also insanely wealthy and can have like everything delivered to you. But like, outside of those rare exceptions, you need a car. And it's seen as a status symbol to have a car. Now, what happens if your car needs to go into the shop? What happens if you hear a funky noise in the engine and you're like, oh, I should have that checked out? Check your bank account. I can't afford to have that checked out. And then it gets worse and worse and worse until finally you have to take it in. And then what could have been, I don't know, $100 repair cost on something that was like straining but not broken becomes a multi-$1,000 repair that is absolutely necessary because you need a car. So how that ties into finances. One, you can, if you have excess finances, if you have to go to a job, okay, cool. But if you have excess finances, regrouping here, doing great already, you are able to take your car into the shop. If you have excess finances, however long they need to keep a car, you can pay for an Uber to get to and from work, assuming you're driving to work. Depending on the area, you could pay for a taxi in that same regard. You have the ability to make your life a lot easier. And again, this is just one aspect. Another thing that helps with financial returns, if you have excess wealth, you can pay off your car more quickly. You should make payments on it to increase credit. That's what I'm doing. Not saying I have enough money to pay it off. Oh God, no. But anyway, if you could pay off your car, there's one less payment you have to do. So you can have more wealth to then reinvest or save. So that's just one very specific instance in which someone's life would be easier if they have money. Another thing as well with cars, specifically, time is money, money is power. It's generally a more frugal thing to, if you can do repairs on your vehicle, you should. Changing oil, brakes, stuff like that. If you are wealthy, but I keep on jumping the gun. But that takes time, that takes energy, that takes effort. If you are wealthy, you can pay somebody else to do it, and then use your time to do other things. Things that can either improve your situation, things that you enjoy. You can use your financial surplus to make your life easier. And again, this is just a microcosm. So, how would this come about? Well, how is this all related to mental health? Well, say you are a mentally healthy individual. Can't relate personally, but how statistically people who have better mental health are people that don't necessarily have to worry about a whole lot of things. You don't have an anxiety disorder or anything like that. So say you have good mental health. What are some contributing factors to good mental health? Adequate work-life balance, being able to pursue the things that bring you joy, being able to see a rewarding and fulfilling things come about of your actions, along with various other things that contribute to good mental health, as well as being able to talk to somebody about your mental situation. Seeing a therapist, assuming it is a good therapist. I've heard mixed things in my area, unfortunately. We're not calling anybody out specifically, but you have access to things. You theoretically have access to things that can improve your mental health. Assuming you're mentally healthy, you're taking steps to maintain that mental health. And statistically, what some tangible things are to improve mental health are seeing a professional, like I already said, eating properly, sleeping well, exercising regularly, and having healthy coping mechanisms for the troubles of life. Now, having access to those things can be a little difficult if you don't have the proper financial surplus. And in trying to get that proper financial surplus, in just trying to survive, that can make things even worse. For instance, we already talked about the car thing. Again, one tiny little aspect. So let's just address the things that I specified, being eating healthy, getting a healthy amount of sleep, which, if I'm not mistaken, for grown adults in America is between 7 to 8 hours approximately. Anywhere between 6 and 8 is still kind of okay. Let's just say 8 hours of sleep. I said eating and exercising regularly, taking care of yourself physically. Let's just say those three things first and foremost, not even covering so many other aspects. Okay, so eating properly. It is not uncommon knowledge to understand that foods that are considered healthier generally are marked up to be more expensive and tend to not last as long. There's always the infographic of like, oh, these two things cost the same amount, and one is like some vegetables that they're just vegetables, and then others is like already pre-made cakes, pastries, etc. that you can just eat and go. To like meal plan and eat healthy meals theoretically requires not just extra money for that kind of food, and even more if you're trying to be vegan, pescatarian, etc., which I would like to be, but I'm not in that situation. Also, fairly confident I'm autistic, and that does not go well with vegan foods, let me just say. Not impossible, but it doesn't go well. Anyway, so not only is that more expensive, but it takes time. And time is not something you necessarily have if you are having to work, long and hard hours at a job. Like, for instance, again, this is an anecdote that reinforces my point, but doesn't necessarily count as statistical certainty, I guess. There's a better word for it. But anyway, I used to work in fast food. I was a manager. I was manager for 5 years. I averaged probably 55 to 60 hours a week for 5 years. I was not eating healthy. I was not going to the store and planning meals, because also, picking out food takes time. Planning meals takes time. I was eating at work, and I was taking food home with me, and that is not healthy, but that is what I had the time to do. If you're working, insert arbitrary amount of hours here, it's different for everybody. It's really hard to have the energy and mental space to cook, meal plan, research, have a balanced meal. Now, some, probably not my area, there are a lot of services out there for pre-made meals, and they just ship the stuff to you. That's awesome. That costs money. So while I'm not saying, for all of these, I'm not saying that it is necessary to have excess finances to succeed in these areas. I'm saying excess finances help. It would help to be able to, spend extra money on those meals. Next, let's go ahead and talk about, oh boy, I don't even remember what order I said. Let's just say physical health next, exercising, etc. So physical health, exercising regularly, keeping track, if you want to, keeping track of calories, etc., making sure that you are maintaining this body you've got, because it's the only one as far as we know. I'm sure there are conspiracies out there about body hoppers and stuff. I don't know of any of those off the top of my head. If you want those kind of things, go check out Wendigoon. It's awesome. Anyway, generally, there are a couple things that would improve your physical health, and a lot of it comes down to there are tiers. Okay, so say you don't have time and money. Okay, what are you gonna do? Just what are you gonna do? Time, money, and energy. Say you have the time but not the money. Okay, cool. Then if you'd like to, you can take it upon yourself to like run around the block, do some home exercises. Awesome. Good for you. You can do that. I'm trying to work on that myself. Say you have money and time, some money and time. You can then get a membership to a gym. You can have access to more things to help you improve your physical condition. And if you have a lot of excess time and money, you can get like your own personal trainer. Like, that's awesome. That's something that is massively beneficial to your physical health. And that is a result of time and money. The more time you have, the more ability you can take to improve your own life. And if you have a lot of money or excess money, let's just say excess money because I'm not going to put an arbitrary number on what is a lot of money. If you have excess money, then you have time because you're not going to have to grind, 50, 60 hours a week at 1, 2 jobs, whatever, to try to make ends meet. And I understand that there's a lot of the necessary income to like maintain a comfortable lifestyle is drastically different in different states in the United States, in different parts of the United States. Like you'd need to make, like $4,000 a month, if not more, to have like a comfortable 1-room apartment existence in LA. Like, no. Here I can make $2,000 to be decently comfortable, not have that much to, put away for savings, but I can make ends meet. So that's physical health. In terms of just exercise, there's so many more layers. So what else is part of physical health? Everything. Eyes. Mental constitutes as part of physical, in my opinion. Eyes, teeth, internal, gastrointestinal. There are so many aspects that can contribute to your physical health. Like it's very encompassing. Like if you just say, like in my opinion, we should have a single payer system where everything is covered free at the point of use for health stuff, and that includes mental. It's mental health, and it isn't eyes are separate, dental is separate. No, it's all in one. That would be massively beneficial to the mental health and financial security of this country, which is more or less what I'm getting at. But anyway, so that example I said before about the car? We're going to apply the same thing to health here. Because if you have excess funds in today's current healthcare system, you don't have to try to put it off anymore. Something going on? Cool. Take care of it. You have the excess funds. And this is how they're so intricately linked. Like, for instance, again, we're going anecdotally, using myself as an example. Though I'm pretty sure there are studies that have noted that a lot of Americans have put off a necessary medical visit because they couldn't afford it, which is awful. Also, I'm sure this is coming through. That's just a thing that I'm fidgeting with. Oh, boy. We're doing real well. Anyway, that's something you can do if you have excess funds. You can be like, this is bothering me. Go to the hospital. Go to urgent care, your family doctor, anything, and take care of it. Then and there. Theoretically, barring from not knowing what it is or anything like that. Whereas if you can't take time off of work, if you don't have health insurance, anything like that, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You just keep putting it off. It gets worse and worse and worse until you have to take care of it. And then what are you going to do? So the moral of this video is to hopefully tangibly link financial security and mental health, because there's more to this, like housing security. You have excess funds, you don't have to worry about paying bills. You don't have to choose which bills you pay in a month. If you don't have to choose between paying a bill and like eating, which I personally haven't done, so I cannot provide anecdotal like evidence towards that. But again, I'm fairly certain that there are studies that have been done in which a fair amount of people have had to do that. You have excess finances, and you don't have to rent. You can buy a house. You can get a mortgage. You can have that as an investment. If you have excess funds, you can reinvest that into real estate, the stock market, bonds, etc. Have a diverse portfolio. All of this stability can be had with sufficient financial excess. And again, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, everybody in this country needs to be making $80,000 a year. That is not the point I'm making. The point I'm making I will make later, because I also want to touch upon retirement. Not everyone can work at a job or jobs that have good, if any, retirement. What are you going to do? What are you supposed to do? Put away like several $100,000 into savings by the time you retire at 65? What? I don't know how I'm going to retire. Like, my workplace has a decent 401k. It really does. But even then, one, I'm not planning on staying there forever, because it's better than what I did, but not what I would like to do. And two, how many people don't have access to that? That's a nagging thing at the back of my mind personally, along with so many other things, of like, oh no, then in comes the nihilism of like, oh no, what am I supposed to do? Why should I even bother? Another thing as well, if you have excess finances, you can have people take care of things so that you have more time to enjoy what you'd like. For some people, that would be having like a maid, being able to hire a babysitter, having an accountant to like do your taxes and keep track of things like that. Because like personally, again, anecdotal evidence, I'm really bad at keeping on top of bills that have to be paid monthly, let alone yearly. I'll forget about them, like, until I get a notice saying like, yo, this was due a while ago. Like just last week, my car registration ran out. I thankfully didn't get pulled over, but like, and it was out of date for the inspection. So like, I had to take care of all that, and it was a good time because that only happens once a year. It's a good time. I think registration is more than that. Anyway, you can have somebody take care of that, so you can use your time and energy towards other things. And if you don't have time or energy because you're trying to survive, working like 2 jobs, how are you supposed to improve your situation, improve yourself, mentally and physically? So more or less what I'm saying is 2 things. 1, wages should be higher across the board. It doesn't matter whether you are working fast food or an office job. Fast food is harder than the office job, straight up, but we're not talking about that. The point that is being made is that they're both beneficial to society. They're both beneficial in their own ways. In fact, one of those could be automated. It's not the fast food job. So it doesn't matter. The issue isn't, oh, they want to make $15 an hour flipping burgers, but the EMT's making $15.25. Why isn't the EMT making more? Especially with how healthcare is so ludicrously expensive. Why? So, 1, wages need to be higher. But more importantly, 2, more factors of life that are necessary should be either very inexpensive or free. Straight up. You should not have to lose an arm and a leg, metaphorically, to save your arm and a leg in healthcare. Healthcare should be free. Healthcare is a human right. Same with housing, or at least have it be far more affordable than it already is. And I'm not saying everybody gets a free home. I'm saying government-funded housing should be a thing. I link sources in the description. I will link this one. Studies have found, for both of those, with healthcare, if I'm not mistaken, healthcare, if you made it single payer, if you did Medicare for all, it would have a high upfront cost, but would pay for itself in like a dozen years. Homelessness costs $20 billion to fix nationwide. End of story. Not 20 billion every year. 20 billion, and that's it. That's less than the amount they're adding to the military budget this year. Don't even get me started on the military budget. But anyway, if these things that are necessary to life were free in use, maybe increased taxes, it would be massively beneficial to the financial security of the average citizen. And again, and if you take care of that, then people have more funds to reinvest in themselves, in their community, in the economy. It's a win-win situation. And the only reason it doesn't happen is generally because of big pharma, government lobbying, etc., because they just like making their profits. And it's such a shame. But yeah, that's more or less what this video is about and how I would fix it. Finances and mental health are intricately linked. If you have better financial excess, you are better able to take care of yourself and take care of all aspects of your health, a lot of which affects your mental health. So that's more or less what I am saying. I am thoroughly trying to refute the phrase, "You can't buy happiness," because you can. Without a doubt, it is proven. And I will link sources to studies shown or articles done based on studies backing up everything I've said. Because unlike the largest mainstream news commentator or pundit in the country, I will show my sources because I think that's important. But anyway, thank you for watching this here rant. I understand it was not terribly connected because I wasn't reading from a script or anything like that. I am working on a large scripted video, but until then, I'm going to be doing this unscripted stuff, mixture of reactions, rants, etc. The next one that I'm working on, I am planning on creating and then explaining the iceberg that is the 20-plus year manga and anime One Piece, which I am a massive fan of. I will admit I have not read the entire thing, but I have consumed so much media when it comes to the manga and subsequent anime that I think I can do this. And I didn't see any icebergs exist when I typed in One Piece iceberg. There was there's a character named Iceberg, go figure, but I didn't see it exist, so I'm going to create it and then explain it and then break it down, all that kind of fun stuff. Probably I would expect that video to be about an hour or so, even longer than the history of Twitch. So yeah, look forward to that. I'll probably take care of that when I have off most of a week here at the beginning of May. Hopefully earlier, but we'll see. It also depends on how the temperature goes, because I can't exactly record while a fan's going, and it's not comfortable being in here with the fan without the fan on. Anyway, I'm rambling. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Thank you for getting the channel to 10 subscribers. I understand a decent amount of those are my friends, and I truly do appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it for everyone that has subscribed. Hopefully this will continue to grow. The goal is monetization. So 30 subscribers is the goal. But anyway, thank you for watching. This is NDNerd17 signing out.